Hello, hello, it's probably Sharon. The book is finished. It's all full and stuffed. So this is step number 3. I'm going to walk you through a few basic things you can make to put inside of your journal. And then the second part of the video will be walking you through the journal and showing you what I did and how I decorated it. So let's get started. Let's go over how to make these cute little tickets. You can leave the back empty so that it can be written on later on. You can make them bigger or smaller. It's kind of nice because you can make them whatever size that you want. I'm just getting a scrap piece of paper that is 11 inches tall, but you can use 12-inch or shorter. You can make them any size you want. Then I'm going to cut off about an inch, a little more than an inch. Then I'm going to take that strip of paper and score it every 2 inches. If you don't have a scoreboard, you can just measure it out and fold it that way too. Okay, then just go ahead and fold it up. Make sure those creases are really tight. Then get your hole punch if you have one, and we're just going to clip off a little bit of the corners, like a quarter of the circle or less, and then in the middle, like a little less than half. And we're going to do that on all the folds. Okay, so let's take a look. So it's already starting to look like a ticket strip. All right, now we're just going to get some ink and some stamps and just kind of decorate these. And you can do that however you want. I'm going to rip this last one so it looks like the ticket was actually ripped. Okay. Now, of course, you can just use whatever stamps you have. I'm going to use just this one. It's just some dots just to kind of make the background look a little grungy. Okay, and then I'm going to put a cute little butterfly. Okay, and then I am just going to add a little number to the edge. And the last thing that you'll want to do is just, if you prefer, if you like that look, to just go ahead and ink around the edges of the tickets and in the folds so it looks a little worn. Then it's up to you if you want to do the back or not. I think I'm just going to leave this one as it is, but that is how you make the little tickets. You just fold them up and stick them in a pocket or whatever. They're really cute. I do want to mention on this bigger one that I did, instead of just a hole punch like this, I used a 1/2 inch circle punch to do the corners in the middle. Okay, I apologize for the lawnmower outside. I hope you can't hear it too much. I'm going to go over a basic tag now. This is for beginners. If you have never done this before, this is how you would make a basic tag. This is just a regular 8.5 by 11. You can use cereal box or recycled cardboard as well. But what you want to do is kind of measure the size of your pages in your book. And for the book that we're working on together, it's 8.5 inches tall by 7 inches wide. So I can go a little bit wider with the tickets, or sorry, the tags for this book. But I'm actually going to do, I'm going to cut this down to 6 inches. I could make it as tall as, 7.5 or 8. But we'll just keep it kind of normal. And it's good to build up a supply of these. Let's see, so if I do 4 1/4. Yeah, sometimes just while you're watching TV or something, you can just make a ton of these at once, and then they're all ready. When you're ready to put them in your journal, they'll all be ready to go. You can halfway decorate them and then kind of finish them as you know what your page looks like that you're going to be putting it on. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the corner. And then I'm going to take one of these and put it on the other side. And I'm going to use that as my template so that both of my corners are the same angle. So it's simple as that. So then you can decorate it however you want. Put a little hole in there. Actually, let me show you a trick with the holes. If you have that 1/2 inch circle punch, this is assuming you don't have any hole protectors and you don't want to use an eyelet. Get your little, I'll do it on this side so you can see it better, your little hole punch and just make a couple circles, kind of spread apart a little bit. And if you have this 1/2 inch hole punch, just line it up with that and punch it out. And then you can put that over your hole in your tag, if that's the way you want to go, and have a little reinforcement that will match whatever you want it to match on your page. This is another fast and easy way to add more writing space to your book. This is just 8.5 by 11 sheet that I've folded in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half again. Okay, now making sure that the folds are at the bottom, I'm just going to do what we just did with the other tag and make a little tag shape at the top. And depending on the paper that you use for this, you can have, you could write here, and then you can also write here. So I like to a lot of times go and kind of sew around this first panel. It's a little tricky, you kind of have to open it up, but that is another fun way to decorate that up. Punch a little hole in that first sheet and maybe put a little light ribbon or string. But that's another fun and fast idea to add more writing space. A Z-fold little notebook is another way to add some extra writing space into your journal, and it's kind of fun to make. So basically it's a little notebook that has 2 spines. So now of course again you can do this any size that you need to do to fit your book, but I've just taken a 12 by 12 scrapbook sheet and cut it in half. This is double-sided, which tends to work better for this, but there are ways around that if you don't have double-sided. So I'm going to get the scoreboard and I'm going to score it every 4 inches. Okay, then we're just going to want to fold that where we've made the creases. So we're making this shape. We're not folding it in, we're making a Z shape. And make sure that those creases are tight. Okay, next I'm going to get some notebook paper that I have dyed. Notebook paper or loose leaf paper tends to be thinner. This way it won't take up so much bulk in the book and I can add more pages. So I've just got, let's see, I'm going to do 3 on each spine. So I'm going to get 6 sheets. I could probably get away with doing more than this, but all right. So this is 6 inches high and each one of these openings is also 6 inches. So, wait a minute, that's not right. 6 by 8. So I need to trim the paper 6 by 8. So just try to line that up as best you can. Where this has been dyed, it's a little bit wavy, so I'm actually going to go right to 6 inches here. And then on the 8 inch, I'm going to actually go a little under that. Just a little below 8 inches. There'll be less chance of pages poking out. All right, now we're going to want to fold those in half so that you have pages that are 4 inches by 6 inches. And take half of those out. 1, 2, 3. Get our little Z fold. And we're going to bind those in. So we can do it like we did on the last video where we did the pamphlet stitch, and we can stitch it in like that. We can sew it down with a sewing machine, but for the sake of time, I'm going to just staple this right on the crease. Now I'm not going to cut this one into a tag shape, so I don't have to be super careful where I put the staples. Okay, there's one side. Now let's do the other side. You can see why having double-sided paper works well for this. Okay, same thing. We'll just pop a couple staples in. And then of course you can embellish this to match your page or your junk journal that you're working on. Let's take a look. I just want to give you like the bones and how to do it, and then you can, you know, decorate it how you want. So it looks good. Let's flip through it. Oh, we have another one. It's the book that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started reading it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue reading it forever just because this is the book that never ends. Okay, I'll stop. Don't tune away. I always get that song in my head when I'm making this certain kind of little booklet. Another thing that you can do, instead of doing the Z fold, you can just cut it, you know, make it fold in half and make a booklet like this as well. All I did was made a little booklet, cut the top into a tag shape, put a little eyelet and a ribbon, have a little pocket inside. That's another way that you can do it too. They're really easy and they add a lot of extra writing space. Pockets made out of book pages are another fun idea. I just tore these out of my book and I'm just going to trim off the ripped edge. And we know that our page is 8.5 inches tall. This page is 9 inches tall. So we want to cut this down. We'll just cut the margins off. So now we're at, all right. Now what we want to do is take, we'll decide what, if you want it to be on this page or this page, and that will determine which way you fold the papers. I am going to put it on the right hand page, so I'm just going to take this first one and fold it down a little bit. And the next one I will fold down a little bit more than that. I mean, 2 or 3 pages is good. Let's see, 2 might even be good enough. Let's see. Yeah, I think that will probably work, but let me show you. We could even go a third one and have 1, 2, 3 pockets. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Okay, so the next thing you'll want to do is ink the edges where these are folded. If you are an inker, anyway. Some people might not want to do the inking. So once this is all inked up, you can glue it down in place to kind of hold all the pieces together. Just make sure it's not wider than your page. So if you remember, our pages are 7 inches wide. So this is a little over 5 inches wide, so this should work out fine. I mean, if this margin bothers you, you can definitely cut that off. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack on the top and bottom. You can glue it and leave it like that, or you can actually need to glue this, or you can sew around the edges. Now you can take it and sew around the edges. Okay, this is still a little over 5. I think I am going to trim off a little bit. There's just too much of a gap over there. That top is a little off, so I'm going to cut that straight as well. Okay, so I've just went and stitched around the edges. So this is ready to get put into the journal. These little scraps that we cut off when we were making the booklet, you might want to hang on to those because these can be made into little miniature booklets. So don't throw them away quite yet if that's something that you might want to put in your journal. This is actually the second page in the book that we created together, and this is the magazine page that we put 2 layers and then sewed around the edges and put gesso over the top. This is going to require a little bit of drying time. That's why I'm recording this page first. So what I'm going to do on this one is get a napkin. I got a few cute napkins from a friend of mine, so I'm not sure exactly where this came from. And so we're going to go ahead and separate the two layers. This one has 2 layers. Some napkins I think have 3 layers, so you might want to watch for that. So I'm going to take the top layer and simply tear this image out. I'm not going to try to make it square. I'm just going to try to get a lot of this image without it being square. Okay. And I've tried this a couple of ways. What I'm going to do is put it down on the page, and I've done it 2 ways. Like I said, I've done it with matte medium, which I got this at Walmart. This is, yes, matte. Sorry, I was just making sure it was matte. And then I've also done it with the Elmer's glue that I added a little bit of water to it, meaning probably 2 parts glue, 1 part water, and I just marked this bottle so I know it has water in it. From what I see, the results are about the same, but of course the glue is cheaper, so might as well go with the glue. Yeah, the glue, the cheaper version. So I'm just going to put a little on there. Just about as big as the image or the napkin I'm going to put down. Then carefully try to press that down. Then we're going to put more of the glue or watered down glue on top. And try to cover that. Be very careful because the napkin can rip, and if it does, I mean, you can work with it, but if you can help it, don't rip it. So yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time to dry. It's kind of why I wanted to film this page first. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do the same for the other 3 pages that we have like this, but we'll see. We might do something similar. So you can take the part that you ripped off, the second layer of napkin, and you can, if you have some stamps, you can stamp this with some of your cute stamps you have, and then do the same thing. Make your own pattern to put on your page. From what I've gathered, what I've experienced, if you use the distress ink and then you put the glue on top, it's going to smudge the ink. If you use permanent ink like this, your image will not smear or smudge. It will stay put. With the distress ink, it does sometimes look cool how it kind of makes the ink move around. It makes it look more distressed, and sometimes it makes it look like, oh, that was a mistake. So anyway, we'll let this dry for a bit and then we'll move on. Okay, I've gone through and decorated the book, and I've used a lot of the things that we just built together. So I want to go through this with you and explain how I did it and what I did, and hopefully you'll get some ideas and some information that you can use to create your journal. So first off, we have our inside cover, and all I've done here is I've taken a 6x6 piece of scrapbook paper and cut it, not in half, but off of half a little bit, and then I've overlapped it a little bit to make 2 pockets. I've cut the little notches out so you can tell that they're pockets. And then here's some of the little ticket things that we made. I've just tucked some of those behind. I have a little postcard back here and another tag. I think this is a Tim Holtz tag. And then I have this die cut of a typewriter, so I thought that was kind of fun. And then this is our title page. So what I've done with this tag is I've gone and just done a straight stitch with the sewing machine just for lines, so you could put your name and date or whatever. It's just kind of a fun way to make writing lines. And then, of course, tied some ribbon to the top. I've added a little more firma back here. Then down at the bottom, there's a piece of a book page, some fabric, and then a button that looks like a butterfly. And this page is the paper that we folded up to make a pocket out of itself. So I punched little holes on the side and then took some twine and tied that shut. Then I took a piece of packing paper and I just did a zigzag stitch, and then I glued it on. So I didn't actually sew it to the paper, I glued it on after I sewed it. Then I have a little bit of lace and a button, and then this is, it's like cereal box that I did the paint, or the crackle paint, so it kind of looks like worn paint. Okay, on this one, all I did was took a piece of paper and folded it in half just to make a writing space. But I only glued it down on 3 sides so that you can use the back for a pocket. And this is just a little notebook that I made out of the scraps from the projects that we just did a few minutes ago. I just made a little notebook out of that. And this is actually a real vintage stamp. If you get on eBay, you can find sometimes like a batch of 200 old stamps or something for a couple of bucks. So they're not very much money, and it's cool to see an actual vintage stamp, you know. So then on this page, I've just taken some scrapbook paper and folded it so it has sections when you open it up. It just looks like a little envelope, but it's actually writing space. And I did this, tied some fabric, a small strip of fabric to this paper clip, and then I just put this on the top to hold it shut. And that's another one of those old stamps. A lot of my pages are blank just because I like a lot of writing space, so I don't tend to decorate every page, but I will go through the ones I did decorate and explain. So this is packaging paper that I just taken to the sewing machine and did a zigzag stitch down the middle, and I just fold it every once in a while. I don't know if you can see that. So I just fold it once in a while, and it makes kind of a paper ruffle, and then I just glue it on. So it actually looks like it's sewn to the page, but it's really just glued on there. And this page again, ain't that pretty? I really love this page, so I didn't want to cover it up. So what I did is I just glued an envelope. I just took and glued about right there. That way I can use the flap as a tuck spot, and then we can use this to add things. So just add some ephemera in there. And then this is the gesso covered book page. I just added a little stamp and some lace on the edge. This is a bunch of little scraps that I just kind of stacked on top, you know, bigger to smaller. And then I just sewn a straight stitch along the top and just clip that in. It makes a cute little notebook type thing. And here's some fabric that I've done the fabric ruffle, just folded it over. Every once in a while I did a zigzag stitch and I glued it to the page. And here is our book page pockets, I guess you call it. So I've just tucked in a little notebook and then some writing cards or tags, I guess you could say. There's room for more. There's a pocket behind, one here. So there's actually 3 pockets on this. So that's kind of nice. Okay, this is that big, huge calendar page that we cut a piece off of. I just covered it a little bit with some different pieces of paper just to add some writing space. On this one, I took 2 index cards and put some washi tapes to make it a flip up. I glued down 3 sides so that I could use the back for a pocket. I've added a little tab. I made this out of chipboard, and then I used a bulb pin and put a little dangly thing on there. So if you don't know what a bulb pin is, it's these little, they're like safety pins kind of, but they're in a bulb shape. They come in handy. You can use these for a lot of things. And they come in all different colors. One thing I wanted to show you really quick with the tag. So, I mean, I know there's die cuts out there and paper punches that make the shape. But if you don't have any of those and you do happen to have like a small circle punch, this is how I did these. I do have the dies, but I was trying to find a different way to do it that would be helpful for people that don't have the dies. So I just stamped this out of chipboard, or yeah, I cut this out of chipboard. So I'm just gonna go like, you can see this, I hope, about like that. You can see the paper through there. And I'm gonna do each corner on the top. And then get your scissors and just kind of snip off those sharp corners there. And there's your tag shape. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. Hopefully that will be helpful to someone. Okay, moving on. Okay, on this page I did a couple of stacked envelopes. So basically I took a small envelope and glued it to the flap of a bigger envelope. And you don't have to stop at 2. You can, 2, 3, 4, whatever. You can keep stacking them up. It's kind of fun. Anyway, I've just added some more bits and pieces in these envelopes. And then I've, again, just glued 3 sides down so that we can use the back for a pocket. And this is another little notebook that I made out of our scrap pieces from the projects we did at the first of the video. All right, I think we're to the middle now. So I just took, this is just the binding thread in the middle of our signature. I just took 2 hearts and glued them together, sandwiched the string in between. So that makes that a little bit, well, it's cute, right? Okay. I've just taken coffee dyed paper and stuck it here to cover up the text and make it so we have more space to write. Added a little number tag there. And on this page, I don't know if you can see this. This is really light colored, but these are just squares of vellum, colored vellum, that you can write over the top of. This is the other page of our calendar. There was a lot of empty white space, so I just left it as it is and added some ribbon, or sorry, ruffled fabric to the edge of that. Okay, on this page I just folded over a piece of fabric and glued it on to make a little tab. And this is the paper that we folded into quarters and cut into a tag shape. So I've just taken that and some of the little tags, tickets that we made, and put it on a paper clip and just hooked it onto the page there. Aha! Here's our zigzag Z-fold book. I won't sing this time, I promise. So I thought that the paper was so pretty, I didn't really feel like it needed to be embellished any more than it, So all I did was take a ribbon and tied it around the middle, and then used a bulldog clip to secure it to the page. And this is just packaging paper that I've glued down and done a little bit of stamping. This is, I take scrapbook paper, I stitched on some ribbon, lace, and did that ruffle, you know, so it's ruffly lace. Then I glued down 3 sides and made that into a little pocket. So I've added a couple of writing cards in there. Then on the other side we also have a pocket. I've added some more ephemera, and then I put this number, I've glued it down on 3 sides to make a little pocket out of it. So I've added some more of our cute little tickets in there. This one I left mostly white just for extra writing space. I just added this pretty sticker. Now we're at the very last page. Excuse me. So this is one of those Z-fold things, but I didn't put paper or pages in between. I kind of just used it as a fold out and then put one of those tabs to make it look like a file folder. And then this is just an extra piece of paper. Okay, and here, this is the fun part at the very back. So again, I've glued down 3 sides to make a pocket. And then this is chipboard I cut into the shape of a leaf, or I think it looks like a leaf, maybe you don't, but anyway, that is used to hold it closed. So if we just swing that over, we can open this up. And then we have lots of writing paper inside and a little belly band that we can use to tuck things behind there. And that is the end of the journal. So I hope that you found some inspiration, and I hope that you can use some of these ideas. And if you do, I would love to see what projects you make. I would love to see, you know, what you make. Please send me pictures in your comments and let me know how it goes. I'm really excited to get this project finished. I usually go a little more overboard than this, but I was trying to keep it more beginner friendly. Normally I do put on a tassel on the edge, but I felt like with this twine around the middle that putting a tassel would be too much. So this is a lot of fun. I'm glad that you stuck with me until the end. So remember to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!